Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
The ancient sages must have sat like this by the riverbank, grinding minerals to make colors, extracting juices of fruits, leaves and flowers, drop by drop. They must have merged themselves with the colors that they were taking from nature. Whenever I imagine an artist in the ancient times, this is the image that comes to my mind.
मुल्तानी मिट्टी, पीली मिट्टी, हिरमची, नील पंसारी दी दुकान तो ते गूंद किक्कर दा असी रोइयां तो चुग लियाउंदे। मां गूंद नूं पानी च भिओ रखदी कई कई दिन, फिर उस घोल नूं कटोरियां च पा के हिलाउंदी रहिंदी, हौली हौली मिलाउंदी रहिंदी। मुल्तानी मिट्टी, पीली मिट्टी, हिरमची ते नील नूं घोटदी रहिंदी कई कई दिन। Since my childhood, I am in search of my colors. My colors mean the colors of nature, the color which talk to me, the color that I have experienced, the color which I relate to. Package colors, they are strangers to me.
I have discovered the richness and wealth of natural colors after a long search. Using the colors of nature is not a fad for me. Natural pigments give me an infinite variety which I need as an artist. They constantly remind me that an artist has to work with nature. These days I am doing Baramaha or Baramasa paintings, that is, paintings on the changing seasons of the year. Traditional Indian calendar divides the 12 months of the year into 6 seasons. Each season has its own mood or rasa, its own flora, fauna and light. The month of Vaisakh is the beginning of summer, when the fields in northern India are covered with wheat crop. For the farmers, Hoi is the deity of the wheat fields. During this month, the wheat ripens and turns golden yellow, ready to be harvested. The yellow in this painting is from hartal, or orpiment, and gold leaf. The month of Jesht represents the peak of summer, when the earth is aflame. The birds take shelter in the trees, the mango fruit ripens, and the sensuous watermelon beckons us to quench our thirst. I have made the brown for this painting from acacia bark and orange yellow from pomegranate skin. In fact, one can get 6 colors from pomegranate skin: yellow, green, reddish brown, olive green, burnt amber, and a beautiful black. The burning heat of summer in my part of India is followed by rains in the month of Sawan. With the coming of rains, the parched earth explodes into a riot of green vegetation. The peacocks break into songs, and released from the summer heat, birds take to the skies. But let me add, I'm not interested in illustrating the seasons. In the tradition of Indian art, my work arises from smriti, that is, from my memories and those of my people. I was born in 1956 in the village Raikot, quite close to Harikapattan, the confluence of rivers Satluj and Beas. My elder sister was married in a village just a kilometer from here. As a child, whenever I visited my sister, I would spend a lot of time at this confluence. It was then full of lotuses and birds. Now, the lotuses are gone, but luckily the birds still remain. My father was a landless farmer. He used to work on the lands of a zamindar.
I was born in a very poor family, Guru Sikh family. But I have the most beautiful memories of my childhood. मिट्टी से लथपथ घर लौटते कभी नहीं पूछती थी मेरी माँ कहाँ से आए, बस इतना पूछती आज क्या देखा, एक कलाकार की तरह। वो कलाकार नहीं थी, पर उसको रंगों की जरूरत थी। वो रंग कहाँ से लाती? यहीं आसपास बिखरे पड़े थे रंग रंग। कीकर की छाल उखाड़ लाती, उससे रंग बनाती थी, भूरा रंग, बहुत सुंदर लाल और भूरा रंग। कुछ फूलों को तोड़ लाती, उससे रंग बनाती थी। फिर सजाती थी अपने गुड्डे गुड़ियां, लीरों को सूत को रंगती थी वो, और उससे बनाती थी बहुत सुंदर सुंदर आकार जो आज तक मेरे साथ साथ चलते आ रहे हैं। वह मेरी पहली गुरु है जिसने मुझे रंगों के बारे में जानकारी दी।
The forms that my mother used to create out of multicolored rags were essentially dolls and balls that I found full of sensuous mystery. Several years later, these memories surfaced into sketches, installations and paintings that were shown at the Triveni Art Gallery in New Delhi in 1994. A ball made of strips of colored cloth is a strange living thing. As one layer of colored strips wear out, another shining color appears with a life of its own. In this way, it represents an unfolding world of color. In another way, it also symbolizes the transient realities and fixations that make up the human mind. Every new color or shade of truth that the mind fixes on appears to be real, but it proves transient, and thus truth remains elusive. I have been coming to Shri Harmandir Sahib of the Golden Temple in Amritsar since my childhood. One does not have a choice in which religion one is born. For me to be born in a Sikh family was a great stroke of good fortune. Sikh religion has a rich tradition of music, poetry and compassion, all of which have enriched me as a human being and as an artist. It is also a very liberal religion that has taken a lot from Hindu, Sufi and even Buddhist sources. Sikhism, as enunciated in Guru Granth Sahib, still appeals to me, though I no longer follow all the Sikh rituals. But then, rituals are not the essence of any religion. While I was still studying in my village school and was just 11 years old, I had started painting the images of Sikh gurus such as Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. These paintings not only expressed my religious feelings but also supplemented our family income. The rich village patrons would readily take these paintings and give me some money. By then, I had received no formal training in painting, but I had come in contact with a trained artist teacher, Hakikat Singh, who would encourage and guide me. He also introduced me to ready-made synthetic colors. These paintings of Sikh gurus were made with a combination of synthetic and natural colors. I returned to the image of Guru Nanak after more than 2 decades. By then, my perception had become more abstract. Now, Nanak symbolized for me only compassion and enlightenment. Adjoining the Golden Temple, there is a tall building dedicated to Baba Atal. He was a child saint who lived for only 9 years in the 17th century. He came to be known as Baba, or a holy man, because he was believed to possess miraculous powers. This monument was built in the late 18th century. Whenever I and my mother came to the Golden Temple, we would also visit Baba Atal. The walls on all floors of Baba Atal were then covered by paintings which were in the tradition of Sikh miniatures. Unfortunately, the paintings on most of the floors have now been destroyed. Paintings now remain only on one floor. These wall paintings depict incidents from Baba Nanak's life, or what the Sikh believers call Baba Ki Sakhiyan. These were all made with vegetable and natural mineral colors. Every time I saw these paintings, I would be amazed by their stories, colors and composition.
सिद्धार्थ जी, ये जो बाबा अटल की पेंटिंग्स हैं, इनका आपकी कला पर कुछ तो असर हुआ होगा?
असर तो हर उस वस्तु का, उस चीज का होता है आर्टिस्ट के जीवन में, जो भी वो एक्सपीरियंस करता है और जिस भी दौर से वो निकलता है। इनका कोई ना कोई असर हुआ होगा। मैंने और भी बहुत सारे ग्रैंड मास्टर्स जो हैं, जैसे पर्शियन मास्टर हैं, उनकी पेंटिंग्स को देखा है। मैंने कांगड़ा पेंटिंग्स को अच्छी तरह से ध्यान से देखा है। बसोली पेंटिंग का मेरे पे बहुत गहरा प्रभाव रहा है। मैंने उनके रंगों का बहुत अच्छे तरीके से अध्ययन भी किया है। अब आप यूरोपियन ग्रैंड मास्टर ज्योतो की बात करें तो उसके काम के प्रति मेरा बहुत लगाव रहा है। और रेम्ब्रांट जैसे महान कलाकार और सेंट बरगीटा के चर्च में मडोना का चित्र, ये सारे के सारे मैंने देखे हैं और बहुत अच्छे तरीके से अध्ययन उनके मैंने किया है। ऐसे तो पिकासो का ब्लू पीरियड भी मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है। इन सब का असर, इनका प्रभाव कहीं ना कहीं किसी तरीके से मेरे जीवन में हुआ होगा, पर मैं जानता नहीं कैसे।
In 1971, I left my village and went away to Andretta to learn portrait making from Sobha Singh. Sobha Singh had created iconic images of Sikh gurus in the same fashion as Raja Ravi Varma had given identities to Hindu mythological characters. At Andretta, I met a monk from Namgyal Monastery of Mekloidganj. I came away with him to this monastery to learn Thankha painting. At Namgyal Monastery, I was advised that to learn Thankha painting, I had to follow the discipline of the monastery. Therefore, I took Diksha as a Buddhist monk. Until then, I was called Harjinder Singh. Now, I became Siddharth. That was my second birth. I stayed on at the monastery for 5 years and learnt the ways of the Buddha and the art of Thankha painting. In the Buddhist way of life, every activity is a form of meditation, whether it is eating, praying or painting. In the first 2 years, we were taught the meditation of mind and body and the meditation of making colors from nature. Buddhist artist does not snatch colors from nature. When he approaches a tree for taking colors, he first prays to the tree and then respectfully removes that bark of the tree which the tree is ready to shed. In this way, the blessings of nature become an essential element of one's colors. This is what Buddhists believe. I owe a lot to Sikh and Buddhist religions, but I am no longer a Sikh or a Buddhist. I'm just an artist, and now my art is my religion. During my times at the Namgyal Monastery, there used to be a school there for teaching traditional Thangka painting. That school has since closed down. Now traditional Thangka painting is taught at the Norbulinka Institute at Dharamshala, about 30 kilometers away from Macleodganj. This institute has been set up under the chairmanship of His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the preservation of Tibetan culture. Thangka painting is essentially religious in nature. For a Tibetan, a Thangka is a physical support for prayers in seeking enlightenment. It is a visual representation of the ideals of Buddhism. Thangkas depict the Buddhist deities, and the act of painting a Thangka is an act of meditation. Traditional Thangkas are made with only natural colors, that is, colors drawn from vegetable, mineral, and animal sources. Yes, even animals and insects yield materials and colors for Thangka. After the Thangka cloth is stretched, a gesso made of yak bone marrow and chalk powder is applied on the cloth for creating a smooth, even surface. Then alone the drawings for the paintings are sketched and colors are filled in. A kind of maroon red used in traditional Thangka painting is drawn from an insect. The use of animal sources for color is not a unique tradition of Thangka painting. Even some traditional Indian miniature schools, like Basoli, used to take colors like deep shining blue for depicting ornaments from an insect and yellow from cow urine. Most of the images in a Thangka are still images of deities in various mudras. But if one looks closely, there are elements of subtle movement, especially in the depiction of nature. I find this movement and stillness particularly fascinating. Perhaps this quality of Thangka painting is reflected in my own work. During my stay at Namgyal Monastery, I painted several Thangkas. Most of these were retained in the monastery. In the process of learning Thangka painting, I gained a deeper understanding of natural colors. But I use only earth and vegetable colors. I do not use colors from animal sources. I have been living in Delhi since 1983. Towards the end of 1975, I had left the Namgyal Monastery and had gone away to Sweden with an artist friend. There I had spent one of the longest winters of my life. I returned to India in the beginning of 1976 and joined the Chandigarh College of Art for a regular course in art, which I finished in 1981. I was then 25 years old. 2 years later, I moved to Delhi. The years following my departure from the monastery were some of the loneliest years of my life. I was deeply depressed in the long winter nights of Sweden. The only solace that I felt was in the presence of the image of the Madonna in St. Birgitta Church in Sweden. At the art college, I was a misfit. I already knew enough about painting and disliked being treated like a novice. And yet I was determined to have a formal training in art to fill up gaps in my education. Out of this state of loneliness and depression, began a series of sketches, etchings, lithographs and paintings that later came to be known as Bus Stop series. In Chandigarh, quite often I used to go to a bus stop to draw and sketch the people waiting at the bus stop. Most of the people standing there appeared lonely to me, as if they were not only waiting for a bus, but for something worthwhile to happen in their lives. Usually, they appeared still and lost, like people whose destiny was no longer in their own hands. Only the children accompanying the adults or stray dogs wandering near the bus stop were animated. My own loneliness and depression found a resonance in these real images at the bus stop. By this time, the meditation and the colors of nature that I had learnt at the monastery had receded from my consciousness. All these sketches and paintings were done in the mediums to which I was introduced in the art college, such as pencil on paper, crayon, conte, pen and ink, and oil on canvas. Around 1983, I started working on another series of paintings that were inspired by the village fairs or melas that I had seen in my childhood. It began as a series that would express the joy and happiness of ordinary people enjoying themselves at the seasonal village fairs. But then, terrorism broke out in Punjab and shattered the lives of the people. The loudspeakers happily playing music were silenced. The bottles of cold drinks and sharbat that symbolized the little luxuries of village people were shattered. Violence and fear were everywhere. The color of life had turned red and grey. Even young people posing for a photograph at the fair now showed off their guns. Their apparent happiness now perhaps concealed a deep-seated fear. What brought me out of this depression was a chance association with late Ram Kishan Das Bajaj and his family, for whom I was designing a house and who adopted me in their family. Now I returned to the colors of nature that I had temporarily forgotten and began the hopscotch series of paintings. Children in rural Punjab play a game by drawing a rectangular field on the ground, which is divided into blocks for home, fields, river, mountain and ocean. The rest of the space is left in the name of God. In Punjab, this game is called Adda Khadda, which broadly corresponds to hopscotch. I found this form a very unique approach to landscape. The other element that interested me in this game was the movement that a child creates while jumping from one block to another. To me, hopscotch symbolizes the never-ending drama of human life. All these paintings were done with natural mineral colors. From natural colors, I proceeded to use natural acid-free paper. It was artist Ganesh Haloi who around 1994 had told me about Vasli handmade paper that was being made by the traditional craftsmen in Sanganer near Jaipur. This had been used for centuries by miniature painters. It is acid-free and has the quality of absorbing water. My next series of paintings, called Neti Neti, was done on this paper with watercolors. A combination of natural colors and handmade acid-free paper gave me an opportunity to discover forms that had never before appeared in my paintings. I was no longer manipulating colors. As the colors came in contact with this paper, forms emerged almost spontaneously. My role as an artist was now merely to identify these forms and give them a little more life. And what does Methi Methi mean? I cannot explain. I can only say, not this, not that, not this.
There is a strange image of a mystical person that keeps appearing in your paintings. What does it symbolize?
It does not represent any specific person. Could be Nanak, Buddha, Kabir, Mira, Rabia, maybe Madonna, that I have seen in Saint Birgitta's church in Sweden. To me, it represents an enlightened being.
Like every artist, I have traveled several roads. I seem to have found my path, but I know I have a long way to go.